So, a little bit of understanding for those that feel like their prayers are not being answered. So, there's times where we have prayed and prayed, but our situations seem to always be the same, or maybe it was something that you prayed about when you were a child, and now you're an adult and you just are thinking, like, well, back then I said all these prayers and my situation never changed. There's times where God hears our prayers and he'll use people to help answer them. An example is Moses. God heard the cry of his people for years, and he was preparing Moses to be able to answer their prayers. Sometimes we blame God and we're like, well, God didn't answer my prayer, so I just really just kind of don't believe in him anymore because I put my trust in him and I believed in my prayers and they never changed my situation. The thing is that sometimes it's not God. Sometimes God speaks through people and he'll tell a person, hey, I need you to go help my child. I hear their cry, like he heard the cry of the Hebrews in Egypt, and he sent Moses. Sometimes God will speak to someone, but it's up to that person to answer the call. And if that person does not answer the call, then sometimes it seems like, oh, well, God didn't answer my prayer. God gives us free will. God speaks to us through people. He'll use people to help others, but they have to be willing to hear his voice and then do as he's saying. So for me personally, I was going through a really rough time, and one of my really good friends received a dream about me, and God was basically telling her, like, what Nikita is going through is more, it's affecting her more than what you guys are seeing. So for me personally, I tend to put on a strong face, but even though like you can kind of see it on my face, I still try to cover up like what I'm going through. But I had a really rough night and God spoke to her about me. Now, she could have received that from God and did nothing with it. But what she did was she called me and she expressed what God had given her about me. And it really helped me get through that day. She stayed on the phone with me and she just spoke life to me. But if she did not answer what God was giving her concerning me, I could have been more affected and not received those encouraging words to really, keep going. So if you have lost hope, if you have experienced prayers that you feel like weren't answered by God, and you just kind of like put him to the side and just said, you know what, I don't believe, I don't believe anymore, and I just believe in, be a good person, and then like that's it. Just understand that God uses people, and sometimes he'll even speak to our hearts to guide us and take steps that we need to take as individuals to either get us out of a situation. But we have to take those actions. God's not going to just, pluck us out of our situation and say, here, I'm going to put you here now. There's steps that we personally have to take as individuals, and there's steps that others have to take that he is speaking to help each other. So for your part, make sure you're taking the steps that you need to take. And for those that God is speaking to concerning someone, make sure you're hearing God and make sure you're doing as God is calling you to do. You never know who you can help, who you can bring out of a negative situation. So don't just hear the call, take the call. Don't lose faith, don't lose hope, and never give up. No matter what it is you're going through, you're not alone. And of course, you guys, always, always grow love.